podcast, where cleanliness is always next to podliness. Now, here are your hosts, Hannah Brooks Olson and Andrew Walsh.
Roses are red, violets are blue. We opened our walls and found so much rat poo.
Oh no, that's a terrible poem.
It starts off okay. I feel good about the beginning of that.
Yeah, it was strong.
Happy belated Valentine's Day, everybody. That is a poem that was inspired by true events as our what do you call it? Renovation. Right now, we're not even in the renovation phase of our basement. We're more in the, what do you call it, deconstruction? What do you call the part of the phase where you just rip everything out?
The demolition?
The demolition, I guess. Yeah, we're in that phase now. And so I've mentioned to you that we had some mystery smell in our walls that we didn't really consider that much of a mystery. Clearly something had died in there at one point. It then brought flies this summer. We took care of all of that. And so we knew we had some sort of... And then recently we did hear some skittering in the walls, but we didn't really know what to do about it. So we knew that in this one corner of our basement, we had some sort of issues with animals coming in and out. And now that we're doing this big project and the workers kind of pulled this part of the wall out that is between these two big storage areas where I believe the mice or rodents were like skittering back and forth between them. I think they created a little tunnel system for themselves. They pulled out this one part of the wall and it was one, first of all, it was about 10 spiders hanging, so that when I took out my flashlight to shine it in there, the shadows of the spiders were very scary to me because they were alive and hanging there. Tons and tons of feces, little pebbles, little tablets, little pellets back there. And then one little tiny plastic container. I wasn't sure if it was candy or liquid. And I asked the worker, he said he was familiar with it. He said that it's kind of, it's like a flavoring that you put on. You can just drink it. Maybe workers sort of drink it sometimes, but you can also just like use it as flavoring on a snow cone or something. It was like a tiny little bottle like this big, and it was all Spanish writing on it, and it was some sort of a little treat that whoever had done the original work on the house just threw their garbage in the wall before sealing it up. So that's what we found in the walls, and so now we need to figure out what we're going to do to kind of prevent the rodents from coming in before we renovate this whole area and make it nice and make it storage and make it a place where I can store food. Yeah,
and also just like where you're not constantly like, who's lurking around back there?
Right, exactly. So
also,
I don't know.
I imagine you're going to want to limit, the things that could die in your walls in the future.
Just generally speaking,
there's a lot to that.
So I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work out, but I'm hoping as they continue to rip stuff out, I will kind of ask them, like, hey, if you see anything, say anything. Is that what they say?
Yeah, exactly
like if you see a little place where it looks like maybe there's a break in the wall or something, because it's really hard. These little critters, as you well know, can get in the tiniest little spaces. So I'm not 100% sure we'll be able to track down what the, kind of original sin here is. But it is interesting. Have you had a project where you've gotten to look into your walls extensively?
I've never gotten to look into the walls, although we did, as I mentioned on our last episode, we did get our new stove, and so we got to pull the old stove out, and so I got to see what all was behind the old stove, and I rushed in there and cleaned it real quick. And so that was, and I got to wipe down the wall, which is something I'd really wanted to do, the wall behind the stove.
Yeah,
so that felt
weird
really good.
Kitchen grease buildup.
Yeah, that felt
dust.
Really good.
Ugh, that's nasty.
And just the stuff that had gotten kicked under the stove. So that felt good.
Yeah.
We haven't opened our walls that I've been privy to, although I know when they redid this downstairs that I record in and made it a finished basement, I know they opened up some of the walls and they found at least one old wooden box that had maybe had receipts or something in it.
Oh, interesting.
So I still have that, but not too much. And we don't have, knock on wood, we don't have rodents in the house that we've really had an issue with. We've never heard them. We've never smelled or experienced them. So that's positive. But I mean, who knows, man? We've had all kinds of other issues.
You have to there's a balance between being comfortable with the fact that we live in the world and nothing's going to be completely hermetically sealed, but also not having animals living inside your walls on the reg. There's got to be something in between those two.
Yeah, it's really got to be, I don't believe that my house can keep everything out, but there are some things I would like it to keep out, like live rodents.
And in-laws, am I right?
Hey-o.
Oh, I love a good in-law joke.
La, 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 la.
Hey, I want to tell folks that we have some great phone calls we're going to be hearing in just a little bit. We got some reactions from an email that was sent in last week. Somebody who is now in charge of cleaning her husband's fuel-soaked uniforms, which has a lot of... We'll get into the details of this horrific story later, but we got some real-life advice. We also heard from somebody who said this.
I'm like, what? Who? What? That's not okay.
So we'll be hearing that in a little bit in the show as well. But there was something that we were supposed to talk about last week on the program that we never got to, which was you and your mom, number one listener Julie, teamed up to make a little TikTok video that was right on point for Spotless.
So my mother knew that I was coming, and so she saved this project for me.
Nice.
Because she loves to remind me everything is content. And
so she didn't just save it for you as a bonding thing to do together,
no.
but because she wanted you to come in cameras rolling.
Yes, she wanted me to make content of it. So she had this crocheted table runner, and she's very into burning candles, especially for holiday things, and it almost always results in a mess. Something breaks, something spills, and in this situation, a bunch of candle wax got onto these crocheted table runners. And so she had come up with this idea that she thought would work really well to get the wax out. And we weren't really worried about the oil staininess of it because they were already dyed black.
Were these homemade?
Yes, I believe she told me who made it. It was either my dad or my girl. I think my dad made them. I'm pretty sure my dad crocheted them, but I don't recall exactly. He does crochet though.
And crochet is, I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but just so I can picture it, because this sounds especially challenging, because crochet is the thing that it's fibrous, but also there's a lot of holes in there, right? It's very open. Okay, yeah. So if wax gets on that, it's not like wax getting on a solid, table runner or tablecloth where maybe you can just sort of chip it off. It must be all over inside.
It's in the threads, yeah. So my mom's idea was to use an iron, like a clothes iron, but to put some brown paper, like the kind that comes in your Grove boxes, brown, butcher paper.
Yeah, yeah.
So to lay some of that on either side of it to protect whatever we were doing it on, and also to hopefully absorb the wax as it got hot and remelted. And then I was like, oh, it will get hotter and you'll be able to transmit the heat better if you also add a layer of aluminum foil. So we had aluminum foil, brown paper, crochet thing, more brown paper. And then you put the iron on top of the top level of brown paper so that it doesn't get oil all over or wax all over the...
Is the iron on tinfoil or is the iron on
iron's on
brown
paper? The iron's on paper.
Okay.
The tinfoil is just there to increase the heat, basically, of the whole thing.
Okay. But if it's a sandwich and the crochet thing is the meat of, well, you don't eat meat, is the protein of the sandwich, the ingredients of the sandwich. Then you have paper on either side of it, right? Yeah. That's the bread. And then where is the tinfoil?
I think the tinfoil was either all the way at the bottom. It wasn't touching the crochet because we didn't want it to get too hot, but we wanted it to keep more of the heat in, kind of, and that's where the aluminum foil came in.
Okay, so maybe that was the bottom layer. That was the plate that the sandwich sat upon.
Yeah, sure.
I'm really hungry.
I guess so. You got sandwich on the brain. And so then we ironed it over, and it did two great things. One is my mother was thrilled with the ironed out brown paper that was very crisp. She was
the byproduct.
So excited about the ironed brown paper. But
now she's just ironing paper. That's what I would do.
1,000,000%. This went around the holiday season of people ironing out their brown paper to wrap presents in, and I was like, dude, I am not ironing brown paper years old. I'm not. God. And my mom was like, oh, I would definitely do this, and she did. And so now, yes, ironing paper is one of her favorite things to do. So we put the iron over the wax, and then it immediately melted it, and it came up into the paper. You can see it coming up on the paper. We did it a couple of times, and by the end, all of the wax had fully liquefied and was out of it. Like I said, I think there's still probably some oil staining on it, but it was a very functional way. And I think you could do it with more delicate. Like, I think if you got wax on lace, I think you could even do it, or any kind of
That's
padding.
interesting.
Because the paper insulates it from like the extreme heat and the metal touching it from the iron, but it melts down the wax and allows it to be like absorbed out. And like, so the brown paper worked like blotting paper kind of.
Yeah, it like leaches it out.
It was really cool.
You mentioned this is your mom's idea. Did she invent this, or was she doing some reading
she
online?
Saw it somewhere, and then maybe also like sort of knew of this as a way to get, especially because we've talked about how to get wax or gum out of stuff, and you can either freeze it, and that's when people use like canned air or even just like an ice cube to get it so cold that you can break it off.
Yeah.
But like you said, in a crochet or in a lace or something with really open fibers, it's all in there. And so even if you crunch it off, you're still going to have like bits of it in there. And, if it gets hot again, it might melt it. So you kind of want to get it out. And it worked really well.
That
video is on our Spotless Pod Instagram and TikTok. And you also get to hear my parents commenting on it while we do it, including my dad standing by watching and saying, "That is satisfying."
That sounds very satisfying. I wonder, do you think if you had like old T-shirts or old T-shirt material that could replace the brown paper? Would that be an improvement, or
that's a good question.
The opposite?
I don't know. I feel like the paper absorbs the wax really nicely.
Uh-huh.
But I bet, anytime you're doing something like that, you're going to want a barrier because you don't want the iron itself to just smear the wax all over.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like a pressing and ironing. It was like a pressing and lifting kind of, just to get
okay. That's
to sort of
good
come.
to
And
know.
you sort of run it around a little bit, and you're not using any iron or water in the iron. You're just using like the dry, because you're not trying to steam it. But it was very functional. So there's that.
That sounds very, very, very satisfying. Before we get on to the listeners here, I don't know if we've talked about about this on the show or not, but you have a new schedule. You started a new job, maybe, I don't know, like was it a month ago or something? At
the beginning of the year, I started a new full-time job.
Nice. Well, congrats again. How is that playing into your daily puttering? Some of this now. You're working from home some of the time, which you had been doing anyway, but is this also getting in the way of like your putter times?
More than anything, it's just thrown off my cleaning schedule, not even because of the work itself. I don't know what it is about this. I don't know. It's so strange because like 2 or so years ago, I had several contract job. Like, I've been a contractor. I work in communications and social media and marketing, and I've mostly been doing contract work for the last decade. I usually have several clients at once. I usually work for myself, and then I have, clients that I work with throughout the day or the week or whatever. And something about my previous schedule about 2 years ago, I had my cleaning schedule on lock. Like, Friday afternoons, I would do the bathroom. Saturdays, I would do the floors. Mondays, I would clean out the fridge. Tuesdays, I watered the plants. Like, I had it down. And then I started a full-time job that was really more like a contract, but it was full-time. Did that for about 9 months, and that completely blew the whole thing out of the water because it was a very stressful job in a very unpleasant work environment. And so that just took my cleaning went from actually cleaning to maintain my home to all of my cleaning was always somewhat therapeutic, and I was always doing it under duress or because I was maliciously compliant with a job that I hated. And so I was technically, in a call or something, but I was cleaning at the same time because I was upset. So now I have a job that I like and a pretty, fairly flexible schedule, and I cannot winch myself back into a position of having a regular cleaning schedule. Like, I just cannot. My days and my weeks are not lining up in such a way that I can get back into that cadence. And so I feel very haphazard in my cleaning because when we were getting ready to start the show, I had said, I have to clean out my fridge after this. And you astutely pointed out that at the beginning of our last show, I said the same thing. And I had just done it.
You had just done it. You were like, please clap. I just did a big clean out of my fridge.
Yes.
How bad did it get in 2 weeks?
It's not bad. It just is all the leftovers in containers that don't get eaten and all the little bits of things and the, this much of something in a jar. And so that clearly is on a 2-week cycle, I feel like. And so I might just have to start writing down like in my paper planner every other Saturday is clean out the fridge day, and that's just how I do that. And I think I just have to start building those habits back up to do it regularly, because I like doing it regularly. I like having a day of the week. I don't like just waiting until one day I snap and the sink is gross. I like having my days of the week for specific things, because then I also remember when I did them last. I can keep a more regular, sort of schedule with when I'm ordering stuff, when my Grove orders come in, what I need. I don't feel like I'm shooting from the hip, so to speak. And so I have not been able to get back on a schedule. And I wanted to just confess that to our listeners, and also know, how do you get yourself back onto a more regular schedule of your housework?
I love any story that makes me seem like a free spirit. And I'm actually kind of surprised, as long as we've been doing this show together and we've talked about our cleaning habits, I don't think I realized how, I'm going to use rigid, but not in a derogatory way. Rigid, complimentary. Yes. But I didn't realize that you were on such a schedule. I knew that you had, your puttering tasks and your cleaning tasks that you were drawn to, or that you had your certain, kind of processes around those. But I didn't kind of realize you're like, okay, Tuesday's the day that I do this. I am very much not like that. And it seems like I would be more like that. But I am more... I'm kind of constantly puttering this or puttering that, but it's kind of like as need be, or as something just hits me, as light hits the shelf in a certain way and I see all the dust, or these days, with all of the tearing of drywall out of the basement, like a lot more dusting. And I vacuum now that people are coming in and out. By the way, these workers are meticulous. I love they put down They always put down the runners that they can walk on, like the work cloths or whatever. They're just like so meticulous about things. But it's still like kind of nice when they're done for the day to get out the vacuum and clean up. Or I don't know, even things that I should be much more rigid about, like watering the plants. When did I do it? I'm like, I don't know. I just stick my finger in there and in the soil, I should say, and just sort of kind of decide like if today is the day or not. And like that is my approach to my cleaning and puttering tasks. It's like at a certain point, it tells you. One time I was grilling and somebody said, the meat will tell you when it's time to flip it. And I kind of... And they're kind of right. You can sort of like, if it sticks too much, it's not ready. And that's my approach to cleaning. The room will tell you when it's time.
I feel like that's how I operated for a lot of years, especially when I lived alone, because, the house would tell me. And also, I lived alone, so I didn't, in a 200 square foot apartment, there wasn't really a lot to be done. And also, I was sort of in that mode of just always cleaning, where I would just wipe down the mirror every other day. It just wasn't really a problem. It was a much smaller mirror. And as I've talked about before, I have a personal vendetta against our bathroom mirror.
Because it hangs, right? It hangs loosely.
It's in like pegs. It's on.
Oh, I guess I had it differently. I thought it was sort of loosey-goosey.
No, it is.
It is.
So
it hangs almost like a
large.
picture frame.
It's huge. It's one big, clunky metal mirror that's on those it's like placed into little mounted pegs. Okay. So when I clean it, it like rattles. I can't reach the top of it.
Oh yeah.
And it's so big, and yet it's supposed to be for two sinks, but we just have one little pedestal. It's so stupid. I hate the whole thing. I hate it so much. Yeah. And every time I clean it, I hate it a little more. And it's got you know how old metal mirrors have that warped sort of brown area? There's sort of an area where it's not mirror, it's just oxidized or rusted or whatever.
Yeah.
It just sucks. Everything about it sucks. I want to take it off the wall and replace it with two cuter round mirrors so bad. Keith does not see the vision. Every time I try to explain it to him, he's like, I just don't know why we would bother. And it's in part because he doesn't clean that mirror. I don't think he's ever
cleaned that mirror.
Can
you ask him to clean the mirror? Would you be cooler with this mirror if you didn't have to clean it?
No, because it still is ugly. But cleaning it is definitely part of it. I could ask him to do it, and he would definitely do it. I just don't think it occurs to him to ever do it. Whereas, I clean the bathroom. I try to clean the bathroom once a week.
But I'm just saying, if you're having, because you've had the conversation, you're like, I want to replace this thing. Yeah. And he's like, I'm not seeing your vision. And I also, but not only is he not seeing the vision of the future, he doesn't see the problem in the present,
correct.
Right?
He also
and it sounds like you have several issues with this mirror. You don't like the way it looks, but it does seem like a big part of this angst is coming from the process of cleaning
Yes,
it.
100%.
And you guys seem to have a pretty good relationship. You're both very neat people. It wouldn't come off as passive-aggressive if you just said, well, would you mind just taking over the responsibility of cleaning it like once a week? And he would respond well to that, and would that change your feelings at all?
I think he would do it once and forget. Or I don't think...
You don't want to nag.
And I don't think he sees, like we've said before, I'm very sensitive to a dirty mirror. A dirty mirror to me is the first indicator that you don't take care of your home. Mm-hmm. If I go into your home and your mirror is, and like some speckles, obviously, right? It gets splattered every time you wash your hands, like whatever. But if your bathroom mirror has clearly not been washed in a while, that indicates to me the entirety of the rest of your home probably is not. Because you look in that mirror every day and you have to look through all that grime and be like, I'm fine with this. Yeah. And so, but I think it's not as much of a metric for him. And so I just don't think he would notice and want it cleaned the way I want it cleaned. But I try to do that once a week. I ideally am wiping down the bathroom sink, wiping down the bathroom counters, doing the mirror, and cleaning the toilet once a week. That is my ideal situation. I like to do it that way. Part of the reason that I am, and I will say rigid about this, or scheduled, I guess, about it. Structured, there you go. Is also because I will forget or I won't, I like to know it's done before it tells me. Like, I like to stay on top of it. I don't like to wait until it needs to be done. And if I wait until it needs to be done, then I feel negligent and like I've let it go. And it's more of a pain in the ass. Whereas if I'm doing it in a maintenance type way, even if it isn't that gross, if I'm wiping down the bathroom mirror and cleaning the toilet once a week, I am always certain that it is in pretty good shape. And that's what I've really fallen off on. I've been more reactive to my cleaning and less proactive, and I prefer to live in a space of proactive.
I gotta say, if you have to get out a stool to do a task, it is going to increase the pain in the assiness of that task by more than double, exponentially.
Oh yeah.
There's such a mental block about, I got to get a stool to do this.
2 footstools. I have one that lives in the kitchen and one that lives in the vestibule closet because there's a little cleaning closet in the vestibule. And so I'm never more than 15 feet from a stool. I will also stand on counters. I hoist myself up onto anything. To clean behind the oven, I jumped up onto the counter and over it so that the guys could do something and I was
when it
cleaning.
was being replaced.
Yeah, the oven was halfway out and I jumped over the counter to get in there and clean it so I didn't disturb the guys making the delivery. And
you need go-go gadget shoes. Have you thought about this?
Would love a pair of moon shoes would be great.
Yeah, or just tie some soup cans. My friend Yelena tried to invent she went to a show one time when she was in her 20s. She was a full-ass adult. She was a full-ass adult. Maybe she was even in her very early 30s. But she did something. She went to a show. She's short. She went to a show with, I think, cans. I think she had somehow fastened cans to the bottom of her shoes or something so that she could see over the crowd.
Stilts. I remember that cans on the bottom of your feet was an old-timey stilts type of thing.
Yeah. I think she tied them or something like that. But anyway,
I just wear my tall
shoes
when I know that I am going to be I have been so it's when it's raining and my pants might get wet because I hate it when my pants get wet. At the hem.
The cuffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Then I will wear taller shoes to make sure my pants are up off the ground.
Yeah.
But then that also requires several other layers of, making things work. But
planning,
yes.
If I'm going to wear these shoes, then I got to wear these socks. If I'm going to wear these socks, I'm going to,
yes.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes, too, we don't really wear our shoes in the house. We're not hard and fast about it. I just take them off when I get home. The one time I will be wearing my shoes and clomping around the house in my, heeled cowboy boots or whatever, it's often because I have a chore that I need to reach slightly higher for, and I'm like, I got my clean. Which is this is what my grandmother, my little Mexican grandmother, she used to wear platform flip flops that were a cool 3 inches tall, and they were her kitchen shoes because she could reach everything when she wore them. So she'd be clomping around on her tall Payless shoe store flip flops. So that is you just bring the stool with you. But yes. So I'm trying to get back on my cleaning schedule. That's the point.
Okay, so advice on cleaning schedules from the listeners. That's what we need. But also, I want to talk about this mirror a little bit more. I at some point you're confident that you will replace it, right? You and Keith just need to get on the same page. So I am a very big fan of like reuse when possible, if not for, in fact, we've discovered some kind of extra storage space by knocking out some of these walls, and so we're going to actually be building this area that is going to be a new kind of built-in cubby area, which is like we reclaimed a decent amount of little storage space, but it's going to be shelves basically, and we're building those shelves out of the walls will be old gym floor. Cool. And the shelves themselves are old bowling alley floor, actually. So it's going to be, that's going to be kind of cool. I mean, we're going to clean up the walls. The gym floor stuff is probably going to look a little bit more like butcher block when all is said and done, because you don't want it to be too clashy or whatever. And that's what I said. But with just a little highlight of some bowling ball floor shelves that will still have some of the markings of the original, like the pin placement dots or whatever.
I love that.
I'm very much looking forward to that, because again, this is also, while it's going to be really cool to have this bespoke area of the basement, it's still like a basement that is sort of rumpus roomy in a way. So to have this sort of like, to have that sort of history and a little nod towards the parlor games or whatever. That. I love. But why did I bring all this up? Anyway, so I really am into the idea of reuse, both us reusing things, but also when we are getting rid of something, to get it into good hands. Like I had this audio board that had been knocking around for a long time, and as Genevieve couldn't sell it, we got it for free. I was about to take it to Goodwill, but instead I gave it to somebody who I knew, who happened to mention an interest in getting to know radio a little bit more, and they were so excited to have it. And I was like, all right, this feels so good knowing that this didn't just go sit on a shelf. I'm sure somebody would have bought it at Goodwill, but like knowing it's going to have the second life sort of that is connected to you. Having said all of that, this mirror, when it comes down, I need you to go to the dump, and I need you to throw it over that little wall, and I need you to stand there and enjoy it as it shatters into a million pieces below. Probably
what I will end up doing is
reusing it.
I would probably suggest we use it. So Keith is the opposite of you. He does not like reusing things. He does not like. He has a.
Well, he likes other. Does he like it when other people reuse his things?
I don't think he cares. He just for our purposes, because I have tried to do this where I'm like, oh, this shelf is downstairs. It doesn't make sense downstairs. Let's just put it upstairs. And then he will want a different, very specific shelf for this purpose. Like he does not generally like to move things about. If something is not doing its ultimate original purpose, that's he
get it out of there. Get the hook.
Yeah. And so what I would suggest is that we use this mirror downstairs in our like home gym area, that we could hang it on one of those walls downstairs. 1, lower. 2, better secured. 3, I won't have to clean it all the time because it won't be next to a sink. So I don't mind it for its mirroriness. Although I just quickly looked, and apparently these like those big, so, and it's one of those, I don't know how to say it, like raw, I guess. It doesn't have a frame. It doesn't have, it is just a big piece of rectangular metal, silver, it doesn't, it's
and
not,
is it vintage? It doesn't have any kind of like little designs in the corners or along the edges. Okay.
No, it is just, I mean, I guess technically it's probably vintage in that it's from the 70s, maybe.
Sure, but it's not like, it's not designy necessarily.
No, it's not designy. It is just a giant square of metal sort of hung between little grabbies on the top and bottom. Like, I'm pretty sure you just slide it out to get it gone. I can't get behind it, and there's like at least an inch of space between it and the wall.
I don't like that.
Neither do I. And I've like watched ants climb behind it. Like I've lost an ant behind the mirror before during ant season. And I'm like, I don't know what's back there. I want to take it down and paint that whole wall and put up 2 new mirrors that are actually nice and cute. And so I don't know. At some point.
So you won't do it. You won't smash it.
At some point I might accidentally break it, and then we'll have to replace it.
Yeah.
I'm not that far off.
You know what I'm picturing here is that really famous Macintosh computer commercial from 1984 that aired during the Super Bowl, where you come running in with a hammer, and then you just like throw the hammer, and it goes ass over tea kettle through the air until it smashes the mirror. I like this. You're like breaking the chains.
Probably what would really happen is that I'm very clumsy, so the fact I haven't somehow already broken it is
Yeah.
shocking. But, if I accidentally swung my glass bottle of cleaner too hard and cracked it, then, oh no,
Yeah,
now
if
I'll
you
have
cleaned
to
it too
replace
hard. I've definitely broken things by cleaning them too hard.
I for sure
By the way,
have.
you mentioned that the ants are creating a little colony back there. You didn't say that, but that's how I prefer
Yeah.
to characterize it. I was behind a car the other day that had one single bumper sticker on it, and it seemed to be potentially homemade. It was just a white bumper sticker that in big black letters said, "I brake for ants."
Huh.
You would expect to see that bumper sticker on the back of a car that is loaded with ridiculous bumper stickers, but
Yeah.
I feel like... I also
Quite
saw a car
statement
the other day.
to just have that one.
This is nothing to do with what we're supposed to talk about here, but I also just want to let you know, because I think before the show, you and I were talking about something that made me think of this. I saw a car the other day. I was pulled over checking directions for somewhere I was going, and in this little neighborhood in kind of East Seattle, and there was a car parked across the street from me that was a Tesla, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess the license plate was supposed to be bragging that it's an electric vehicle. And so the license plate said no gas, except clearly somebody had already taken no gas. That would be a pretty
Sure.
popular. So they had to distinguish it somehow. So I don't know if it's because it was their 10th Tesla or the letter X seemed like a fun little space holder, or placeholder. But what their license plate ended up saying was no gas X, which really seemed like a personal problem. Imagine riding around town with a license plate and everybody's like, oh, this poor son of a gun doesn't have any gas X. We got to get this guy some gas X.
That's just a Dutch oven on wheels.
Right, exactly.
You're just
like,
hotboxing.
I really hope that car was not used for any kind of ride share
I was going to
service.
say, I hope it's not. Could you imagine getting into an Uber and it's like, the license plate,
God.
this is no gas X, and you're like, I'll take the next
Oh,
one.
God. Pack the Mylanta for certain.
Woof.
For certain. All right, let's get into the show.
Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top.
We're getting very close to the time of year where we can start playing the spring cleaning songs that we have, but we'll stick with this for now. We got this email. I'm going to reread the whole thing, in fact, although we read it on the show last week, and we sought advice from the Scrub Jockeys to help listener Arian, who wrote, "Help! My fella recently switched jobs, which has been great for his mental health, but terrible for my olfactory health. At his previous job, uniforms and laundry service were provided. Now I'm providing the laundry service. Oh, I should mention, he is a heavy diesel mechanic. Today, he accidentally took a diesel shower and also came home covered in grease. What do you suggest to A, get these clothes clean, and B, get the stink out? Internet said things like vinegar and baking soda or Dawn dish soap, and I've had mediocre results with these. Oh, and of course, he usually needs these cleaned by the next day, so soaking really isn't an option." So it sounds like not only is this place not providing the service to clean these clothes, they're not providing enough clothes. I don't understand how you can just have one uniform here.
No,
And
no.
I'm not the only one who's incredulous about this. We have a listener, Renee, who is in the Denver area and I believe runs a garage, and she's not having this.
Hi, Andrew. This is Renee Leon in Aurora, Colorado, listener number 25. I'm a shared 25.
We need to talk about this for a second. I'm so sorry. I know that nobody cares about this like I do.
Correct.
But I have Renee as a shared 20 on the list. I have her as 20A and Jill a 20B. But she says she's a shared 25. Now, I know that there was a lot of competition over 25, but we decided we were giving it to Keith, the custodian.
Right.
Because, first of all, he's a custodian. Also, he's been a great friend to the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to, and I had promised him that, I think, in person. So he had 25 locked down, and I knew that there was a lot of competition. I thought Renee was a shared 20. Renee, if you have any more information on this, if you think I'm misremembering it, let me know. I'll change the sheet. But I don't know. I'm pretty meticulous about these things, so it's a little bit in my head. Like, did I mess this up that badly? And how will the listeners deal with it if I have?
I'm a shared 25. And I'm calling because I heard the request for help from Arian. And I'll just say this straight up. I don't have a cleaning suggestion. What I have is a sense of, well, I'm just appalled because I own a repair shop, an auto repair shop, and it's not diesel, especially because my husband, he's very tidy. We keep our shop very clean for safety and aesthetic, and just that's the way he runs things. He likes things clean and organized, which has been great. But we now have 10 employees, and we pay for our uniform service. I think we do it's either 5 or 6 uniforms per employee, and once a week, a uniform service comes in and takes them, does any maintenance. Of course, we have to pay sometimes, and they clean them. So I pay a decent amount every month, or every week to get the uniforms cleaned. But I can't imagine anyone doing that on their own, because it's messy work, and we're in Colorado, so there's a lot of wet, and you get up under a car and things be dripping, and you can be as careful as possible, but you're going to get schmutz in your hair. You're going to get it all over. So my suggestion is your husband needs to could try to advocate for that service, because it is ridiculous. The idea of doing it day after day, you should at least have 5 uniforms. And if you're washing them yourselves, that is a major expense for your time and energy and your water usage. So yeah, my feedback is, as a shop owner, I'm like, what? That's not okay. But maybe that's just this gal's opinion.
No, I think it's all these gals' opinion.
Yeah, no,
I think
all
we
these
all
gals
heard
agree.
that.
100%. The idea of one uniform and the fact that you're expected to clean it yourself, unless you're getting like a cleaning stipend,
I don't get it.
No. And
but even if you're getting a cleaning stipend, these clothes need to soak. Adrian says, like, we can't.
Yeah.
Or Arian, I'm sorry, says, we can't let them soak because they have to be clean and dry by the next day. Like, in what world? Like, any clothes I wear to the office or whatever clothes that we wear in our everyday jobs, if we're not taking diesel baths, we're still not usually needing to turn those around for the very next day.
Mean, I used to when I was a barista, and I only had one shirt. They gave me one shirt. And I had
it was
to
like
wear
a uniform shirt? Like,
yeah, it was like a polo.
An Oxford or polo?
It was a black polo. And I had to wear it every day. And they would only give me the one. And I did not have in-unit washer and dryer. So I just wore it every day. And we all did, because that was all they would give us from corporate. And we would constantly be in trouble for having like milk stains or whatever on our uniforms. And we agreed that, yes, they were getting pretty gross, but it's because we only had one. And so eventually we got corporate, I think, to give us 2. So that we could swap them out. But yeah, but it's impossible. If you have a job where you need, and I think this probably happens a lot. I think probably a lot of people who have uniform, shirts maybe only have one or a few, which is bananas. And especially if you don't have like a cleaning service, because a lot of places you can go in, get your newly cleaned, I think like chefs with like chef's whites, they go in and buy, or like just pick up from the laundry. They have a laundry service that does it. Do we have
like Cintas is a big one. I don't know if you've seen those trucks around, but like,
yes.
I worked for my dad. He ran a metal fab shop in Cleveland, Ohio, that he and his brother ran while I was growing up, and I would work for them during summers and times during college. And so we had uniforms, like you can picture it, a blue, like what you would see maybe like kind of a mechanic wearing a blue shirt. I had a little name tag that said Andy. I didn't like that because I was in my Andrew phase by this point, but my dad was still ordering the shirts. But like, even me, I think I had 5 of those things, and Cintas would come pick them. I would have to carry them to work in a laundry bag, I believe, and then you leave the laundry bag somewhere. They would clean them, and then they would bring them back, and they'd be like, hanging on hangers and with that plastic sheeting over it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I was making minimum wage, and they were doing that.
Don't
so
we
like,
have a listener who works in doing like commercial laundry? I feel like we have a listener who told us that they do commercial laundry, uniform laundry.
Maybe.
Like that,
I remember being fascinated to hear that my cousin, who I have not seen in decades, but I saw my aunt and uncle recently on a trip to Ohio, hadn't seen them in a long time either, and we were catching up, and their son, my cousin, his job is to do the laundry for this big restaurant/banquet hall, basically. It's actually
I
two
remember we
different
talked
banquet
about
halls.
that,
And
yeah.
I thought that was super, like, that alone is a full-time job of somebody who, like, runs and maintains a laundry service for this business that I think is maybe two banquet halls in a restaurant or something. Like, this is a real job. And then here you have Arian, who's like, suddenly she's the laundry service. That doesn't, I'm saying she, I'm assuming she, maybe they, they're the laundry service. That doesn't make any sense. Your mom wanted to jump in here too. I'm going to give her the floor a little bit. Now, I tightened up her voicemail a little bit because we're all on board. We're all on board with the fact that this is not how it should work.
Yeah.
So she made that point as well, but then also has some true laundry advice here.
Oh, hi. Number one here. The caller who had the husband with the new wonderful job, but now he smells like diesel. This is my reply. It's not an old Mexican trick, but it is an old mechanic's trick.
I love. Were we all thinking, okay, but is this an old Mexican trick?
Well, I think because I had mentioned, I had called her out because when we were talking, because my grandfather was a mechanic, or my great-grandfather, sorry, my great-grandfather was a mechanic, and he was an old Mexican dude. And so I made a joke, I think that I was like, I'm sure there's some old Mexican trick for it.
I'm so glad I stopped there because when I was listening to it earlier, I was like, okay, I wasn't asking, but okay, so she's responding to something you said, and I don't remember anything. Yes. Okay, take it away, Julie.
Oh, hi. Number one here. The caller who had the husband with the new wonderful job, but now he smells like diesel. This is my reply. It's not an old Mexican trick, but it is an old mechanic's trick. Well, first of all, before she does anything, talk to the employer and get that boy some more clothes. He needs a minimum of 3 outfits for the week. Yep. Okay. First, you have to buy Tide. Tide has been around since, I think it's like the 30s or 40s. It's the thing that mechanics use. You actually can, oh my God, the clock's going on. You can scrub engines with it. It will cut grease, just like Dawn. So she needs Dawn, real Dawn, and Tide. And Hannah was right, borax. And if there's an option to wash his clothes in a different washing machine than what the family uses, that would be my recommendation. She also needs a bus tub, like those gray kind that you have at restaurants. He needs to take the clothes off before he comes in the house, put them in the bus tub, a small squirt of Dawn, hot water, let him soak for an hour would do it, longer if you can. And then dump that down the bathtub, and then put the clothes in the washing machine. Use Tide, borax, wash them on super hot. Figure out a couple of towels that can be donated to the cause. The washing machine works better when it has more clothes in it, just like the dishwasher works better if you don't rinse your dishes.
Sorry, my microphone was off. I was skeptical of that, but I looked it up. Apparently that is true with modern dishwashers and modern dish soap.
It has to do, and in the washing machine, it has to do with the spindle. Remember, we talked about the agitating. We had a whole episode where we talked about the ones that have the agitating spindle, where it does help the clothes get cleaner if there are more of them to knock against each other. Yes, that makes sense. Where the clothes help clean each other if they're being properly agitated, and if you only have one thing in there, it's kind of just whipping around and getting all tangly.
I wasn't skeptical of the washing machine aspect of that. I was skeptical of the dishwasher aspect of that. But I guess the enzymes, these modern cleaners do go after food enzymes. So if you're over rinsing your dishes, there's less enzymes for them to attack.
Also has to do with the way that new dishwashers sense what's in them. There's something about newer dishwashers where, they target the food particles. They're made to do that. Yeah.
I cannot wait for the day when that conversation is relevant to me. And again, with this whole basement renovation project, I'm sure it won't be relevant for a long time. But I have one of the most basic ass dishwashers you can imagine. I think it's from the 90s. It's just a cube, and it's got one spinny thing, and it's all the way at the bottom, and that's it. And, I rinse my dishes because that is what I have. But anyway, when your mom said that, I was like, what? What is this thing about? That sounded like such a, especially because the way it was just tossed off as an aside. I was like, you're crazy for this one, Julie. But no.
Well, we've talked about this before, too, though, because when we had a new dishwasher put in when we were still renting the place, I talked to the dishwasher guy, and he said the same thing. And he's also the one who told us, don't you can rinse them, but you don't have to scrub them. The dishes should go in dirty. and 2, that you run the hot water tap for a minute before you start it, so the hot water's already in the pipes, because the dishwasher will not heat everything up at first. And so if you want it to be run hot the whole time, you just run the faucet for a minute so the hot water's already going. That was his tip too. And so that was
sorry.
How dare you interrupt me with my own mother?
I know.
Okay.
I should do that. I can create family discord by playing the tape of your mom interrupting me.
We just talk at the same time all the time. This is the thing. My mother and I just don't stop.
Other.
We just are. It is a constant flow of both of us just speaking. Yeah.
Is your sister the same way?
Yeah, I think so.
So if all 3 of you were in a room together?
It is Keith's living hell. Yes.
Okay, back to Julie.
Be donated to the cause. The washing machine works better when it has more clothes in it, just like the dishwasher works better if you don't rinse your dishes. So donate a couple of old rag towels, just old rags. Use those every time you wash with the wash the work clothes. It'll help in the agitation. And then wash them twice. Wash them the second time with nothing, just hot water, so it'll make sure it rinses really good. That's my recommendation. Good luck. Love the show. Love both of you. Love the scrub jockeys. Okay, bye.
And I love that advice. The thing is, though, it does underscore just how much work this is, too.
Yeah.
I mean, this description, we cannot do that every single night on the same uniform and have it ready the next day. It simply is. It's not sustainable that way. So we have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Arian, if you're still listening, I would love an update about what you think of this advice that we're getting, and if there's been any movement on a couple more uniforms, because that really seems like the key here. And I mean, honestly, as Renee was saying, a couple more uniforms that are cleaned by somebody else. But if that's off the table, at least get us. I'm
He's
really
a mechanic.
invested in
Is he in
this.
the union? This could be a union issue. I'm just saying. If he's a union mechanic, he should talk to his shop boss. Because
I'm guessing that if he's a union mechanic, this wouldn't even be a conversation.
Probably so. But if not, maybe ladder that up.
I think somebody else would have already fought that fight. Like this sounds pretty far outside the norm. So anyway, but again, I'm also not trying to make Arian feel bad about that. Also, it sounds like they mentioned, I'm very glad to know that this is a better fit from his old job. So anyway, all right, I have one more voicemail here and an apology. The voicemail comes from listener Carolyn. The apology comes from me to Carolyn. This voicemail has been kicking around for a long time. I found a little folder on my, actually, this is relevant, I think, to Spotless. Vives and I don't want to throw her under the bus, but we talk about how if something sits in the house for a little bit, it becomes invisible to Genevieve. Like she can sort of put something by the door to take it out to the garbage or the car or something. But then if it sits there, she literally just stops seeing it. It just blends in, right? Well, that happens on my desktop every now and then, and I keep a very neat, organized computer desktop, as you might expect. But I, at one point, created a little folder called Unused Spotless Voicemails. I'm like, well, this is I'm sure I thought, I was just like, oh, this is very clever. And then today I discovered it. I don't even remember when I made it, and I opened it up, and there was one voicemail in there from listener Carolyn, and I'm going to play it, but I have no idea when this is from. And sounds like this was from a very specific time in your life, and it's probably not as relevant anymore, but I still really enjoyed this.
Hello, Hannah and Andrew. This is Carolyn, listener 6 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am calling because I just got to do one of those cleaning tasks that you rarely ever get to do. I vacuumed and cleaned my stairs, which normally I do like a quick pass with them, every couple months, but it's not very regular. However, this week I am between the old job and the new job, a time period I believe is called fun employment. And I had an afternoon with nothing to do, so I took the handheld portion of the stick vacuum and one of those little uproot cleaners that digs up the cat dander from the carpeting, and boy, it was so satisfying. And I just thought that might be a good topic of conversation for the pod about what kind of deep cleaning do you do when you've just got like a random day off with no plan. Mm-hmm. Have a good one.
Yes, I do love that. And I also just love people calling in to talk about their little satisfying moments.
Me
I would
too.
really encourage people to do that. In fact, I don't think I gave, I know we'll hear it again at the end of the show, but I don't think I gave out the phone number at the beginning of the show. It is 508-469-9274. That is 508-HOW-WASH. Or you can record a voice memo the way Renee did and email it to us, spotlesspod@gmail.com. I love, it doesn't have to have a huge narrative arc. Just tell us about these little moments that you have. You're just like, damn, I just tackled that thing, and you like call us in the afterglow.
Yeah, let us know the things where you're like, ooh, that felt right. Yeah, I know. I stuck my little stick vacuum down the lint trap in the dryer again recently, and it felt great. I love those moments too where you're doing something, fairly regular, you're wiping down the counters, and then something else catches your eye and you just lock in and you are suddenly in mercenary cleaning mode.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I definitely do that to my stairs. I don't want to take anything away from Carolyn, but I probably do that. I think if I'm getting the description of that process right, I do that probably about once a week. But we also have a cat, and our one set of stairs leads down. It's fully carpeted, and it leads down to our fully carpeted basement. And it's just such a high traffic area, especially when you start to see things like, because we are a shoes on house, and while I tend to have indoor shoes and outdoor shoes. We're pretty porous about those situations. So you can see tiny bits of leaves, tracked in or whatever. So I'll do, I think the same thing, which is I take the stick vacuum, I take the stick off it becomes a handheld vacuum. And then I take what I think of as the upholstery cleaner brush thing. It's like a little mini brush, right? That you stick on the end of it and then just like go to town and try to get into those corners as much as possible. And then it's very satisfying. I got to say, that's a huge thing about vacuums these days is seeing what you've pulled up off of the floor. And sometimes you look into it, you can even see the different layers of things. Are you like that? You can sort of see the dander layer, the dust layer, and then the cat floof layer.
I can tell what I vacuumed by what's in there, because you can see sort of kitchen floor crumbles.
Yeah,
rug fuzz.
Right. So gross.
One thing I would really recommend for carpeted stairs, especially if you have pets, is the uproot tool, that little metal sort of coily. It's a hair remover.
That's what Carolyn might have been talking about. She said the uproot tool.
The uproot tool, yeah. So I do really recommend. Yes, so she mentioned that, and that is I really recommend it. It works really well on especially high plush. And it's also really good for couches. If you have a plush couch, we have a sort of a not plush. I don't know. It's flat. But if you have any kind of a pile and you have pets, it really is quite satisfying. And basically it just combs the hair out, and especially the crevices in the stairs, as you know, that's where stuff really
this makes more sense.
Yep.
So this uproot thing that Carolyn mentioned, I thought she was talking about I thought she was just describing a part of the vacuum that I describe as this upholstery thing, but she's talking about a separate thing.
Although she might have used, the upholstery guy on the attachment on the vacuum is really good too. But she might be talking about
for the corners, this sounds better.
It's metal, and it comes in a couple of sizes. I have one that it really just looks almost like a. You ever use like a flea comb on your cat, and it's about the size of a debit card, and it just has little prongs. So it's like that, but instead of prongs, it has metal coils.
Okay.
And so you can just sort of like lint remove on a sweater, and then there's a bigger one that has a handle, and you scrape it through. It's very similar, or it does a similar thing to something else I've mentioned before, which is the carpet rake, the rubber tined or bristled carpet rake that also will pull hair out of thick fibers.
So I didn't realize this either. I'm really learning on the fly here. So uproot is the brand. It's not a generic term for this style of thing. It's just that this brand sort of owns the market. I'm on their website now looking at you can get the Mini, the Mini Pro, the all uproot cleaners for a cool $80
I'm
here
actually
for
looking
the whole
around to see if I have. I'm surprised I actually don't have one around my desk actually, because we have carpet downstairs, and it's quite handy. Our stairs are not carpeted, so those I just use the stick vac on, and it's pretty easy. But when I had carpeted stairs growing up, that would have been a game changer.
They're using these on their pets, too. I'm flipping through the slideshow, and it's like, look at this. I cleaned the carpet. I cleaned the stairs. I cleaned the cat. And there's a woman doing this on her cat's tail.
I mean, it's quite gentle. It does just sort of although if your pet was tangly at all, I guess it's not that different. Although Lola can't stand being brushed, so who knows?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. She does not enjoy to be brushed. She loves to be petted. She does not enjoy.
often does she get a bath?
Honestly, more often than she probably should, because you really only need to wash a dog once a month. Dogs don't need that much bathing, and it's actually better for their coats if you kind of let them do their thing.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, it is. You can definitely overbathe the dog, but she's so yucky and is forever rolling in mud. She rolls around in the grass every single day. Every day when I let her out, she goes and just rolls in the grass, like on her back, and she comes in just covered in who knows what. Like today, probably, honestly, she needs a bath. And, okay. So
does she like them okay?
No, hates them.
Oh.
Absolutely hates the bath. Loves going in the river, hates the actual bath. So I usually bathe her in the upstairs bathroom, which has a tub. And I pick her up and I put her in the tub. She weighs 50 pounds. So I like squat the dog and then put her in the tub. And then when she's in the tub, she has a lick mat. She's like a little puzzle kind of guy.
You've mentioned this.
And it has suction cups on the back. So I stick that to the bathroom wall, and it has either peanut butter or squeezed cheese or something in it. And so then she just stands there and licks it while I wash her.
So because I was thinking, like, cause I'm very curious about this stuff because we are still very serious about getting a dog, and that is getting closer and closer. We're just waiting. We have a trip in March, and then once we get back from that trip, we're going to be seriously looking. And I know Genevieve, once she starts getting into something seriously, we're probably gonna have a dog by like 2 days after, you know. And so I am somebody who's very, as you know, and the reason we do the show, obsessed with cleaning and cleanliness. And so just, you know, bringing that amount of chaos into the house is something I've been thinking about. And then also like these moments of like, what if I do have a dog who doesn't like to be bathed? And also, what if I need to back off a little bit? And sometimes I really don't like petting somebody's dog and then pulling my hand away and then having my hand smell like dirty dog. It's one of my least favorite things. So but I also don't want to like clean the life out of the dog either.
That also has to do with breed. So this I can tell you, some dog breeds are more pathologically stinky because of the way their skin produces oil, because of the thickness of their coat, whether or not they have an undercoat. So especially if you don't want to welcome extra chaos into your house, I would say no shepherds, no huskies, no like big tufty, the ones that blow their coat.
Good. I'm kind of not into that style of dog. Yeah, that's fine with me.
I honestly see you in sort of a terrier, sort of a littler guy that you can, you know, pop into the tub easier.
Genevieve is thinking a bit much bigger dog than that. Honestly, it turns out our definition of medium is a little bit different. I was picturing a dog like Lola size. Yeah. I think she wants a dog a bit bigger than Lola.
This is as big of a dog as I would have. So she is 50 pounds ish, but she has really stubby legs. I mean, she's built like an end table. And she is technically a medium dog because of her height. But she is, you know, if she were a regular legged dog, she would be closer to a large dog, I guess. But this is as big of a dog as I would ever. First of all, I don't like to have a dog I can't pick up. And I only picking her up is like the world's heaviest sack of potatoes. She just goes totally boneless.
She is like a sack of potatoes. I love that dog.
She is. And she's not.
I think you should just give us Lola. I honestly think that would solve everybody's problems. We need a dog. We love Lola. We know that you don't care for Lola that much. You've been looking to ship her out of there. Yeah, exactly.
She is. I mean, she's from Mexico. There's a lot of Lolas out there. There were literally 6 of them on the property where she lived. So highly recommend a Mexican
dog.
Only
one Lola.
It's true. Well, technically she is Lola too, but they're. So that's one thing. And she's not like a stinky dog necessarily. She doesn't get that dog stink. And my little dog I had never stayed. Like Indy was the tidiest little dude. And so I only had to wash him if he actually like rolled in something. I did not bathe that dog that regularly because he didn't need it. I need to. But Keith had suggested I try and wash her in the downstairs shower, which is like a walk-in with a glass door. He was like, oh, that way you don't have to pick her up. And I was like, okay, I'll try it.
And it has a shower handle that is removable and like on a hose. Okay.
And it has the way that the shower head is removable and is controlled is very confusing. So I immediately soaked myself in getting it ready to go for her. But then also he didn't remember the fact that she is very smart and stubborn, and so she just wouldn't go anywhere. I couldn't even get her into the bathroom, and there's not enough room to pick her up. And whereas like I can airlift her into the tub pretty easily because there's room to just plunk her in. But getting her into the little shower room with the glass door, no, it happened one time. And she was like, "I've never, no, absolutely not."
Yeah.
And now she just won't even go near that bathroom.
And it seems a little less comfortable too if it's like kind of a stall style.
Oh,
shower.
it's not as the tub is.
I like a tub. Yeah, I really hope my future dog likes to take baths.
Well, and some dogs do. Some dogs really like it. A lot of dogs just kind of give up on life when they're in the tub. They just kind of stand still.
Yeah, they go into like all Vives and I refer to this all the time. You see like those people will be like, "Look at the cute bunny getting a bath," and then a million comments of people are like, "The bunny is in distress.
Yeah.
Get the bunny out of there."
Yeah,
It's
the
like,
bunny is in a fugue state, and that's why Lola just gets to do her licks, and which is a pretty good way to do it. And
smart.
And I can get her into the bathroom with the squeeze cheese. That she'll just stand at the edge of the tub, and then I just scoop her up. But yeah, it is. I would look into breeds that have, because a lot of times that stink and the really oily kind of thing that you have when you pet a dog is like bacterial, and so some dogs just produce that more than others.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, thank you everybody. Arian, let us know if you have any updates on.
Can I email his employer? Like, who do I need to?
Yeah,
talk
no
to
kidding.
About this?
We'll
start a campaign.
We'll get a petition going.
More uniforms.
What's the internet repository for write-in campaigns like that? People are always starting their
Change.com petitions.
Yeah, change.org, is that what it is?
Yeah, we can start a change.org petition.
Yeah, let's be the change we want to see in
There you go.
Arian's world.
Just
all right,
say the
everybody.
word.
Yeah. All right. Let us know also if you guys have any little satisfying cleaning moments. Let us know if you try Hannah's and her mom's little tip about getting wax. People are going to be just spilling wax all over the place just for the opportunity to get it back out using that method.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was very satisfying. And bonus side effect, you get that ironed brown paper.
That's right, which you can then use for gift wrap. Thank you, everybody. We'll hear from you soon, and then we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
You've been listening to the Spotless Podcast. If you have a question for Hannah and Andrew or some cleaning advice, call the Spotline at 508-HOW-WASH. That's 508-469-9274. You can also email them at spotlesspod@gmail.com. We'll be back soon. But until then, always remember, life is messy, but it doesn't have to be.